The Temple of Speed in Monza, Italy is a beloved track to so many Ferrari fans worldwide, including one who's dancing in his broadcast booth seat that we're here tonight. I'm looking at you, Chris Winstone. We're sending NARL's best Porsche Cup drivers around this historic legendary circuit for 60 total minutes of racing tonight, but paying points twice, so there's no letting your guard down. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Monza, Italy. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, Chris Winstone alongside, and it's a pleasure as always to be joining you for coverage of season number 4 of North American Racing League Porsche Cup action here at Monza this evening. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Muradness, brought to you by Love 46, and brought to you by Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. And I'm glad, as always, to be here for any North American Racing League broadcast, but I think I ought to let the excited part of this racetrack, I guess that's your thing here tonight.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely one of my favorites. I think we were talking about that beforehand. I talk about it a lot. I'm always trying to push people to do weird races on this track, especially with the combined. We don't have the big oval going in today, which is always a really good time, but I think that's okay. And it is a bit bizarre not to have any Ferraris around. It's weird to go around Monza with no Ferraris, but these cars are still fun, and it's still going to be some really great racing. It's, flat out for a huge portion of the lap. Carrying as much speed as possible makes such a big difference. It's all about momentum, and there's a lot of great passing opportunities. Hands down, just one of my all-time favorite tracks here.
I will say this is a racetrack that is built for low wing, high speed, just hanging on, kind of white knuckling the race car, but also to have passing opportunities. A lot of racetracks, they might be a little bit faster. They might not have great passing zones. Might be a little bit slower, maybe have too many passing zones. It's just a slugfest. This is a racetrack that I think balances things very, very well. You even have the couple of more, single file corners like the Lesmos and Parabolica, but you also have those passing opportunities in turn 1, in the second chicane, in the Ascari chicane. So each of those chicanes tonight going to play a big role. We might even see some passes into turn 6, maybe even turn 7. And I'm sure we'll see a few into Parabolica as well. Really, every time you hit the brakes here, there's an opportunity to make a pass, unlike a lot of racetracks we go to, especially in these kinds of cars. So buckle up. It's going to be a wild one here this evening. Here are your standings coming into the evening. Fabrizio Belziti still on top, and there is now a drop week accounted for in these standings, which I think is a big shakeup. I mean, we actually see the same point totals for Belziti and Montoro on this graphic, technically, because their race at Long Beach was what got dropped. It was their lowest result so far this season, which is kind of telling, actually, about Belziti for the power rankings here in a few. But, everybody has kind of had a chance to catch up. They dropped that one bad result, and suddenly it's a whole new fight at the top end again.
Yeah, that drop week always makes a big difference. It's kind of beforehand, you're kind of trying to do the math a little bit. It's always nice as a driver when it actually gets put out there for you to be able to see what the difference is. And a lot of those guys who, maybe their worst race was still pretty decent. It's nice to have that in the bag, but there's some guys who you hit disaster in race 1 and then you don't have that for the rest of the season. And it really puts a lot of pressure on you because, every race you've got to get a result because you don't have that drop week available anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once you have that figured in, you feel a lot better about your season all of a sudden. Before that, you're kind of like, well, this is not going well sometimes, or maybe you're on the other side and you're kind of disappointed there's a drop week to, catch guys back up to you, but certainly is important to have at a championship like this. So, big for a lot of those guys that get that kind of catch-up opportunity. And as far as the Pro-Am points, here they are, Division number 2 this season. Gabriel Felipe up top still. Really no surprise, right? I will say that the total has dropped big time. The actual gap has dropped from 41 points it was into Long Beach a couple of weeks ago, now to just 20, and it's over Miguel Colon now, who got a win out at Long Beach. So things tightening up over here as well, but it is very much, I'd say, those two. Certainly Felipe the Edge, Colon is in the conversation, and then it's kind of everybody else just trying to tread water at this point in the season. So as we get into qualifying coverage here, Chris, it's not much of a fight lately in Pro-Am, but hey, it looks like it might be tonight. Enrique is there.
Yeah, that would be good to mix it up. You know, you don't want you don't want to just let Felipe just run away with the whole championship. It's still, you know, we're basically approaching the halfway point. After this race, we'll be halfway. So your time is going to run out. We don't do a whole lot of races in these things. So 8 races is a pretty short amount of time. So you really, if anybody's going to catch him, you can't let that 20-point gap turn into anything larger, because, you know, once you start getting 50, 60 points back, it's going to be pretty hard to make that up. You got the integrated field, so you've got, you know, maybe if you outperform and you can get in front of some of the pro guys, you can make up some of those points, but they're pros for a reason. And, you know, it's not, you know, Felipe is going to do that too. So you have to, it's less likely he's going to make mistakes. So you got to find somewhere to get an edge on him pretty soon.
A bit faster there for Miguel Colon. He will bump up slightly. Doesn't gain any positions. It looks like he'll stay 16th overall as we watch the back end of qualifying here. Enrique is done with his run. Here is Gabriel Felipe, his teammate and the points leader down in Pro-Am. And we'll check back in on some of the pros here in just a moment. We'll see this lap run out for Felipe. This is lap 3 for his run. If he's going to get any faster, it's got to be right here, and he does get faster. That will be good for pole in Pro-Am and top 10 overall for driver 100 as Fabrizio Belziti lights up the scoring pylon in purple. Fastest for car number 18, a 147.151. Dino Filippa over a 10th back, and then it's Saavedra, Pascucci, and Benitez down in 5th spot. That is the first non-SDR car.
Always kind of dominating up front. We've seen that every race this season. You always have the train of pink cars leading the way. So I don't think that's too much of a surprise here, as we see some guys bail on the laps. There's a lot of places here where you can invalidate a lap just by, I mean, it seems like kind of a simple track, but because of the nature of it, because the straights are so long and you're always trying to carry as much speed as possible, you're really pushing the track limits everywhere you can. Some of the curbs get particularly nasty, especially in that second chicane. Going through those, we'll see guys up on 2 wheels. This corner right here, also Parabolica. It's pretty easy to run all the way out. You see him go, and he's still got some room on the outside. You don't really use as much room as, I feel like in the GT3s we were using a lot more of that. You're kind of taking it all the way to the line. Because if you don't, I mean, that basically means you could have carried a little bit more speed in, and then that affects you all the way down the straight. So.
And that last bit you said is exactly it. Yes, it is a simple racetrack when you look at it on paper, but because it's a bit simpler of a layout, you actually have to maximize the racetrack every single time you enter, get through, or exit a corner. Every bit of this racetrack, you've got to be getting the most out of it. And even in a straight line, you've got to make sure that you're, you know, kind of bobbing and weaving in and out of the draft, making sure that you get the draft at the right time, get a little bit of cool air to the car as well. If you're overheating, you're certainly not going to go very far, as Jose Ramirez does get ahead of Love 46, who actually drops to 34th of 34 in qualifying. So she's going to watch everybody take the green and have the most opportunity to make spots up and make an impression for our driver of the day vote later, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, this is a racetrack where, yeah, again, it looks a little more simple on paper, and we can even look at the track map again and show you that. It looks like it's got a lot of straight line, like it isn't all that complicated. I give you that, but because of that, you've got to make the most of every inch of asphalt around here, and it's easy to go a little too far, get a slow down, and as you said, invalidate a lap time. I actually found myself using a lot more curb in Ascari, believe it or not, getting up on nearly my door earlier in practice versus the other chicanes. So, I mean, these guys, especially in Ascari, got to maximize it.
Yeah, you really got to push it. It's just one of those things we're going to see, guys, and especially when you start getting in traffic, that's one of the things that kind of makes it a little interesting to overtake is when, you know, if you have somebody on your outside and you know you got to hit that curb, well, if you're letting somebody on your inside, you got to know when he hits that curb, he's going to come out a little bit, so you kind of got to leave a little space for that.
A quick look there at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 20-minute sprint race, 40-minute feature. The 20-minute sprint race is what's coming up next, of course. That'll have an invert of the top 8 in between races. Fixed setup, the 45% fuel load does mean that we will not need pit stops in this first race. We will in the second race, and you see the incident limits as well. We might be talking about that a little bit as the evening goes on. Weather conditions, how about those? 80 in the air, 91 on track. Not too hot, also not that cool. It is going to be something these drivers think about and wish the temps were a little bit cooler. And then I quickly want to look at those power rankings. I mentioned Gabriel Felipe and Fabrizio Belziti, a couple of those drivers moving around. Belziti is down to second to the power rankings. We'll talk more about this in between the races, especially once we see this first race go through, but you can see already some big effects after Long Beach a couple of weeks ago. That said, drivers are hitting the grid. Let's go ahead and take a look at who is starting where in this evening's race. And on pole, how about Fabrizio Belziti right back to the top in car number 18 alongside Dino Filippa, who got a win at Long Beach. It's Marco Saavedra and Roman Pascucci in row 2. Of course, it will be a standing start. You see them getting in their grid places. There's Ralph Benitez, Gabe Montoro in 6th. A little farther back, Agustin Torlaschi and Santiago Bastarrica, followed by Leandro Lanzendorf, who was a lot of fun to watch in California, right alongside Juan Blanat.
Then moving back, we got Rodrigo Metz next to Ricardo Rico lining up on the 6th row. And behind them, Gabriel Felipe, who's our, I believe, Pro-Am pole sitter. That's a very high position, actually, 13th. He's in ahead of a lot of pros. Next to Brian Scollieri, the number 14. Then we have Jackson Resende lined up next to David Toth, followed by Bruno Henrique lined up next to Juan Valero. P19, Miguel Colon starts next to P20, Danish Hassan. That's your top 20.
Back in 21st, Felipe Brenta in the number 11 alongside Jacob Stofko. Fabio Zamperlini, one of the OGs here. He'll start from 23rd. William Kaler from 24th. Back in 25th spot, Victor Veloso, Adam Brockway alongside. Then it's Miguel Alcrudo and Scott Reister himself in row 14, followed by Ricardo Delgado and Alex Esser. Just a few more. Those are Avery Hart, Jose Correa, Jose Ramirez, and Love 46 herself out of Kazakhstan. We have got just a couple more seconds for these drivers to hit the grid, I think. They're trying to make sure they don't overheat these engines by getting in and turning them on a little bit too soon. So everybody waiting until the last moments, it looks like, of this session. While they do that, a reminder to go follow us on everything Pit Stop TV, all across our social media platforms. We've got racing all throughout the week, and this weekend, a doubleheader. It's going to be fun on Sunday. We'll see if Chris Winstone makes the chase at a NASCAR series, and then we go up the mountain to Mount Washington. We'll talk more about that later on. Until then, waiting on the final couple of cars to grid. Bastarrica, Blanat, Felipe, and Enrique, the only drivers left to grid. In fact, now it's 3. And then we are off to the races. It's just Gabriel Felipe, just the Pro-Am pole sitter. There he is. He's on the grid. The countdown begins. The lights will go red eventually. I feel like we're being teased here. Everybody just waiting. There we go. We've got red lights waiting on green. 20 minutes. That's the distance. Race 1. Green flag. Wait for it. It's a really long timer here. There it is. Green flag.
Great view of all the cars coming off the line. Marco Saavedra got a great jump and is able to push his teammate Belziti up to turn 1. Try to help him get clear. They have contact. You don't want to do that. Don't want to be banging into each other's teammates. Just get settled in. So they're going to kind of sort themselves out and hopefully get in a single file line and start working together. But that was a little more argy-bargy than you want to see. So we got a lot of smoke and dust out there in the back of that chicane.
Lansendorf problems, big crash in Curva Grande. We are wiping them out all throughout the field here at the beginning of race 1 on the evening. Our leader's already up into the second chicane. Everybody else is just on a wreckfest mission.
That can tend to happen here. Turn 1 always gets a little spicy. If we see someone else going around there off into the gravel.
Meanwhile, your fleet of pink cars at the front, STR gets away almost unscathed. They are fine as they work out of the Lesmos. Then you see everybody else, headed up by Bruno Enrique. They finally get out of the Lesmos, and it's just a crapshoot if you got damage or not. Miguel Colon, no hood on that race car.
Well, maybe that'll make it lighter and make it move a little bit quicker, but somehow I think it's going to mess up the aerodynamics just a little bit.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking. I think as our leaders work out of Ascari and down towards Parabolica for the first time. Oh boy, that was an eventful first lap. And it's not over. More cars are still slow. Brockway out on exit of Ascari. He will get the car regathered, and here we go. Out of Parabolica, Fabrizio Belziti either blinking or, yeah, blinking it looks like, as one is down to the pit lane already. That's one. Blanat in the 89. There's the rest of the field coming on through.
And I'll tell you who really benefited from that in the beginning was Cologne. I saw him sail it around the outside when all, like, they're wrecking right there in that second turn. And he just managed to find his way through past about 3 or 4 cars. So he's mixing it up there with the pros. He's moved all the way up. He's P14 now and still fighting his way.
A chaotic first lap of racing at Monza here this evening. There you see a battle with Danish Hassan and Miguel Colon, who has got no front hood on that race car. He has got a bunch of damage, and he is now into the 14th spot overall, trying to hang on to all he can. Thankfully, this is at least a shorter race. He doesn't have to hang on quite as long as if it was the 40-minute race, but that still is not a good look.
No, if you can get the elbows out, though, you can make it work for you. I mean, it's not going to be ideal, but you're not losing a whole lot of positions right now to.
Well, it was David Tote getting by him.
Yep, there we go. Now we're going to have a little bit of a problem here. Yep. Now he's got Jacob Stufko behind him. So now he's getting into the positions, the cars that he's really caring about.
And really, I think when you're battling Gabriel Felipe and you're earning points at an overall scale, he's got to be worried about every spot. When Gabriel's ahead of him, he needs to make sure he minimizes all those losses, and anytime that he's ahead of him, again, maximize all those gains. So that's a tricky spot to be in. You've been in it yourself, right? It's not easy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be kind of in the back of your mind. At this point, you're just trying to put it, behind you and get focused on what you need to do in this race. But it's definitely going to be weighing on him.
Lap 2 complete. You see the entire field cycling on by the flag stand here to complete lap number 2. Some other damaged race cars farther back. That was Miguel Alcrudo in the 00 that I noticed having a lot of damage, much like Miguel Colon farther up the field. And this is into turn 1, 3 wide. Around the outside is Metz. Boy, the driver leading the power rankings is down here in 29th overall. He gets back in line, but he's got a lot of work to do. He looks up at Felipe Brenta, who was one of the cars turned around at one point on lap 1. Metz having a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this is where you hope you have that drop week well in hand, because he's stuck. These guys are going to be slowing him down a whole lot. And there we see up in front of him some contact. Thank you very much. Take that position. And that was kind of what I was talking about with the curbs. We knew he was going to bounce out. And when he did, he made contact, and the guy on the inside came out worse in that case. But
and there's Gabriel Felipe. I was looking at Bruno Enrique up the order. This is Felipe here in the 100. It's the two Rosso cars. They look identical. One is 101, one is 100. That confused me for the first time this season. Here is Gabriel Felipe. This is great news for Miguel Colon. Of course, he's still mitigating that damage. He has allowed Alex Esser to go by, and as well as Jacob Stofko. But this at least is going to be better in Colon's case.
Yeah, this is what you want. You want to see, when all that chaos happens, you're going to be looking like a lot of times you'll have crew chief or a spotter comes on and say, I think it was Felipe, and then okay, that's good for me. Let's have more of that. So, damaged car. If you can limp it back, you'll get a new one for the feature race. If you can limp it back and then start in front of them, that is huge.
Obviously not good news for Gabriel, but he's got some points to fall back on, and this will certainly... It's at least looking like a drop week. You hope he doesn't have a finish bad enough, though, to, I guess, constitute that, but that's the way racing goes, as you see these guys moving around at the back end of the field. Let's get back towards the front. Dino Filippa leading the way, as there he goes, bouncing over the curbs. Oh, man, these guys are getting all they can. That's cool to see. It is very refreshing, I think, in all of the track limit racing we see these days. It is refreshing to see these guys truly attack the curbs in these cars.
Love it. I always love whenever you get these tracks where it's, you can't take all the curves, but I mean, just look at that shot. That's so nice. Just seeing him just yeet across that curb there with 2 wheels on the ground, 2 in the air.
Just wait for a
It's just a real nice... Oh, yeah. Here we go. I mean, look at that. You can kind of see who's, and that's a great shot because you can kind of see who's using all of it and who's not. You see guys kind of driving around those curbs. And you'll see that a lot in GT3s because some of the GT3s handle differently than the others, but we're all in the same car here. If somebody's taking the curbs, I'm thinking, okay, it can be done. I'm on the curbs.
I really enjoy these shots, just looking straight back through the chicanes. You get a real good respect for just how much of the racetrack these guys have got to use in order to be competitive, and it's just like that up here in turns 1 and 2. We'll do it again here in the first chicane as Dino Felipe continues to lead the way here in race number 1. Hard on the brakes. And here's some more curb hopping.
And the curbs help you rotate there, especially that first one. It's kind of, you can carry in a little bit more speed because the way the car kind of settles over those curbs, it kind of pulls you a little bit into it when you come down. So that can help you set up because you obviously want to get as far over to the right going to the first one to set up the next one so you have that long run. The earlier you can get on the throttle there, the better. It's going to make a huge difference.
And of course, we mentioned Love 46. Not a great qualifying effort all the way to the back of the field. 34th for the start of this race. She's already up to 24th, so 10 spots here for the 46 car as she looks up at Brian Scolieri, and that's a spot, make it 11.
There you go. If you're back there, that's what you like to see. If you're going to spin out of my way, please. Thank you very much.
And Brian gets back on the racetrack, yeah.
Yep.
Got to appreciate that, too. A guy that gets back on the racetrack in a controlled manner. We saw that. We saw the opposite of that last night in a race we covered. It was NASCAR-style racing, and it was... They both spun, and somehow made contact about 30 seconds after they both spun. Just the way it goes.
Those are the most frustrating when you're the guy that gets caught up in that, when somebody comes off the brakes or rejoins weird and you're having a good race and then bang, it's just all over because somebody couldn't hold the brakes. But we definitely don't see as much of that here. That was pretty adventurous off in the gravel. You have a pretty surprising amount of grip in that gravel, honestly, because of the amount of speed that you're carrying through, the amount of downforce that's working on the car. It just kind of sticks you into it. It definitely slows you down a lot, though, so it's not what you want.
I will say, even in this car that has simpler aerodynamics, you've got a lot of grip in this thing compared to even I feel like a GT3 car has less grip sometimes. I think maybe because if you get outside of an optimal racing line, oh, hang on, David Tote! What a catch! Victor Veloso, there they go! They're gonna crash now! Veloso in the wall, David continues on. What a mess there through the opening couple of corners of lap number 6. For Veloso and Tote, that was incredible between them. Great driving by the 41 to hang on initially, but then it came right back at it and had more issues. That was not ideal at all.
No, less than optimal, you might say. I mean,
yeah, suboptimal. Yeah,
hit the wall really hard there. I'm surprised it's not more damage than it is. It looked like it was still driving all right. Here we go. Nice switch up there. Little wheel banging down the straights. Easy. Watch the quarter panel. That's door banging is fine, but hitting someone's right rear, that's never going to end well. We already got a good example of why you can't really do that.
And now Fabio Zampolini has got Leandro Lanzendorf, who was so much fun to watch last time out at Long Beach. That's right behind Fabio. And then he's got Juan Blaine out there as well, who served that penalty on lap 1. So a lot of busy action back here towards the back end of the field. We keep getting sucked back here. There's just such great racing, but a little farther up. Oh, and there goes Fabio in the background. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was just a slow burn. You could see him when he got on the throttle. It's just kind of slowly losing the back end. Tried to keep his foot in and just couldn't quite hang on to it. Scott
Reister with a catch there out of Parabolica. Oh, my gosh. Great miss by Ramirez. That was, again, suboptimal. That's a great way to put it. By the way, Miguel Colon, you see him here in the background. He has dropped down to 23rd overall. He is 9th in class and just ahead now of Gabriel Felipe, about 6 seconds up the road. So they very well could still swap positions, which is unfortunate for Miguel, but that's, again, just part of racing. He's got the damage and not really sure what else he should be doing, frankly. He's trying to mitigate it best as he can. If he came down and pitted, it'd be worse.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, maybe it's handling okay. I'm not. I mean, that's the thing. With ripping the hood off, you got to think that's a pretty strong front end impact. You might have, you might be down on power a little bit, which that's the worst thing that could happen to you here. I'd rather have all the aero damage in the world, honestly. If I'm gonna get hit, let it take my rear wing off. I'll deal with the consequences. But you lose a little bit of engine power here, and that's like seconds per lap you're going to be down.
That's a tricky part too, because iRacing is not perfect, I suppose, in the way that it simulates that damage. You would think, well, this is a Porsche, right? The engine's at the back. How a front impact shouldn't damage the engine, and to that I would say correct. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to have a program be absolutely perfect across so many different kinds of race cars, and I mean, in a stock car, it makes perfect sense. That's what iRacing was built off of. For a stock car, a front-end impact absolutely should at least weaken things around the engine, if not damage the engine. So yeah, a loss of power makes sense there. In a Porsche Cup car, maybe a little bit different, but it is a simulator after all. So yes, you have that contact. It is a risk to the engine, at least the drivetrain, and certainly you could have some issues as a result.
Yeah, that's probably more likely what it is. I think I just my brain went soft for a minute. I think I've been racing too many front engine stock cars lately. Kind of forgot what we're in for a second, but yeah, I mean, it still, I guess, could affect the drivetrain. It's probably simulated well enough that it's going to be looking for that rear impact. So that's more my mistake than anything. But it's still, I mean, either way, if you're missing the hood, a huge front end impact like that, there's so many different things and bits and bobs on the car that can break. That's just going to cost you little bits of time here and there. And as we've already discussed with this track, it's any little thing you lose, it just kind of gets exaggerated with just the long straights and everything like that.
Well, and I want to stress that you do absolutely see front end impacts in rear engine cars cause power damage on iRacing. That is part of the sim. That's why I was saying, like, to that assessment of, well, it's a front impact on a rear engine car, it shouldn't cause engine damage. You're right. It's a non-perfect, an imperfect simulator, right? You're never going to have a program that is absolutely perfect at simulating all of that on specific cars when you've got, 200, 250 cars on the sim. This iRacing does so many things right, it can't do every single thing right.
I think that's fair.
Battle here. This is David Tote working on Jacob Stofko, who has hung on to this point for second in Pro-Am. Good little fight. This is 13th overall. And then behind these
how powerful
guys,
this toe is.
And you got this
we got
toe
some
working.
really nice racing back there.
This could be interesting. This is on board Victor Veloso. He's going to go over in front of Jose Ramirez. That's going to give the advantage to Alex Esser into turn number 1. He's going to try to go for 2 for 1. Still on the inside there. Victor Veloso takes the outside, then the inside there. Self-clears and gets the spot back away. Well done by Veloso.
And that puts Ramirez in an interesting spot. If he can hang around, yeah, you're kind of looking for that just as close as you can, get a little bit of a draft off him. And that worked, and then bang, there's the door shut right in front of him. Just a little nudge just to let him know you're there. And yeah, if you're Kaler back here who we're riding on board with, this is, you're thinking like we said before, if you spin, if you crash, please do it off the track. Thank you very much. And you're just looking for that opportunity. And he didn't quite get it. They've all strung themselves out, but there's still a little bit of time.
And then you get Rodrigo Metz back here, the guy who's leading the power rankings here in the Pro Division coming into this evening's race, and it has been anything but a powerful performance for him. I will say he is recovering nicely up to 21st here, working on 20th. If he can just get by Correa by the end of this first race, he'll get it there into Ascari. So that's now top 20 again for the 88, but still a lot of work to do for somebody who might still be looking, I think, for his first win. Maybe he has one, but still needs a lot out of each of these performances to bring the fight to guys like Belziti and Felipe, and this is just not doing it. It's because of what happened lap 1, but this is not what he needs.
Yep, I mean, luck's part of it. It's sometimes, I can definitely attest to this, sometimes you put in a lot of work, you're doing everything you can, you're seemingly doing everything right, and then somebody drops a wheel and just comes on, and there you are, and it can put you on the back foot. But he's going to be looking ahead now. He's looking for that feature race. Just make up the spots, and then you've got 40 minutes to really get back up towards the front.
And at the front, we've got a decent little fight here. We're also going to have a fight for the invert between Bastarrica and Ricardo Rico. But for now, this is Marco Saavedra working on Gabby Montoro. This is for 4th position. So near the top 3. You can see the gap ahead of Montoro. There is a bit of a gap up to that 3rd spot. Roman Pascucci currently occupies it. So the podium for race 1 here this evening looking very SDR as it's Filippa, Belziti, and Pascucci. There you see the move. Saavedra looking to the inside of Montoro. He shuts it down. And then Ricardo Rico. Got a new paint scheme on that car this week. He is working to get into the invert position in that Novileggio number 1. Wouldn't that be something? If he's able to get this 8th position here in race 1 and start from pole in race 2.
One thing that's going to be making that more difficult for him is the fact that you got Torlasci right there in front. So Bastarrica's still going to get a tow. If he was on his own, I think he's keeping it close enough. We'd have a real race on our hands. But if he's trapped in this train, you're going to need them to start battling with each other. And I don't know how much, Bastarrica's going to want to actually battle since, he's basically sitting on pole right now.
And it's hard to say if there's enough time for this to happen. But because they are kind of all together, there's only so much farther that Ralph Benitez at the front of this line can go. Right? He is going to eventually stall out, and Torlasci is in his draft. Even if Torlasci doesn't get Benitez's draft, as it is actually maybe a little bit too far for Torlasci to grab, Torlasci can only go so far then. So you would think eventually they would kind of pack together and stall out. Question is whether or not Ricardo Rico can actually take advantage of that. And if it happens soon enough, I mean, the lead car can only go so fast. So at some point, that second car is going to catch up and either make a move and slow them both down, or check up and still slow them both down. So that's going to allow cars further back to catch up, you would think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I think, at this point, there's not really enough time, I don't think. I don't know, it's difficult to say because that toe can be strong, and, Torlasci is pretty far back now, and he's kind of taken in some places kind of a sloppier line, which is letting these guys stay right on the back of him. Rico's been struggling too. That SDR car is looking pretty planted right where it needs to be as we see the front 3 coming around in formation almost.
Will be flag stand for these guys as we hit the 1 lap to go mark. There it is. White flag brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. One more time around. Barney slacking on the job, not waving that white flag. Here you go. Montoro and Saavedra doing battle into turn 1. Saavedra on the outside will give that spot back up. Overcooked it. Montoro gets away, and that should finalize that battle. But then you've got this fight for the invert. No worries about Bruno Enrique behind, by the way. He is about 6 seconds back, but leading here in Pro-Am, no concern for him. He has got 5 seconds back to Jacob Stofko. He is squarely in this position. Might lose it overall to Jackson Resende as these guys fight down into turn 1 for the final time. Avery Hart, actually no, this is Andrew Lanzendorf, Ricardo Delgado, Miguel Colon, Brian Scolieri, and Gabriel Felipe. So Felipe could yet get ahead of Colon.
It's just got to hang on for one more lap. This is going to be a very intense lap if you're Cologne. You know he's back there. You can see him on the black box. So you're going to guard the inside here, make sure he can't get in there. Okay, so that's him. Oh, you can see the difference in power. He really can't do anything about that, which I think is about to be trouble. I think Felipe is going to get him here once we get through Lesmos.
A flash quickly up to Ricardo Rico to see if he can get by Bastarrica. It's going to happen down into Parabolica. And off the track there goes Rico. That should nullify all the advantage there. So then our eyes shift back to Miguel Colon and Felipe. Let's see if Gabriel can get there. It's going to be close into Ascari, let alone the rest of the lap. And sure enough, pulling to the right. Here comes Gabriel Felipe to get the position on Miguel Colon and into Ascari. Miguel trying to hold serve. He does. Well held there by Miguel Colon, and off the corner, Dino Filippa does win race number 1. Here's the checkered flag for Bruno Enrique, but the points leader's down in Pro-Am. Miguel Colon trying to hold Felipe at bay. They've got him boxed in.
Oh, that is perfect for Cologne. That is a Christmas gift early. But he
cooked it.
He's still kind of, he got blocked.
He's going to have to run. Delgado's holding up the 100. Oh, don't wreck them all. Wow. I don't know if that's team orders or what's going on. Delgado, absolutely. You know, at first it was kind of like ignorance is bliss. We don't know, so we won't comment. But frankly, you could tell at the end of that, Delgado was playing some kind of something. I don't know if the order is from within the house or what there, but you could tell he was trying to help out Miguel.
Hey, he did a great job if that's what he's trying to do. And I never have a problem with that. I really like it when teammates work together on that kind of thing. You got to help them out. You're in a position to do so.
It's a highlight for us. From our side, that's a highlight.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's if you're Felipe, you're back there losing your mind, which is totally understandable. I think we've all been there. But
that's like most things.
He tried everything he could. It was just really hard. Just physical but fair, I think, racing. And I mean, yeah, just getting boxed in like that, like of all the places that could have happened, you know you're running out of time and there's nothing you can do about it. So great job from all three of those guys.
I would say that's like most things, right? I mean, human nature is to dislike the things that work against you. But of course, you're okay with negative things happening to other people. You just don't want it to affect you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. It's, I don't know. I'm sure he's going to be upset about it, but I think, if the situation were reversed and his teammate was there, I think that's most drivers are going to understand. It's like, well, yeah, I would do the same thing. I'd cover that inside for a teammate too. So, no, I think it was just tough racing. It was really cool.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a look back at the incidents there from lap 1 of that race. Let's see what happens here. This is the start, the initial start. So this is the warm-up session in between races. We'll use this opportunity to look back at what happened lap 1. And this is deep into turn 1. You see everybody trying to get what they can. I saw things happening back around Zamperlini. Kind of just trying to keep it mostly all in focus. I mean, that's just a classic stack up. And I think that was Felipe that got turned around. No, that was Enrique, actually, the 101. All right, let's fall back a little farther here. So here's into the corner. Here is Bruno Enrique. The 101, he's on driver's left. You see, oh wow, Veloso barges in there. They stack up. Resende ahead of Enrique, and yeah, there was nowhere to go for Miguel Colon. It was just that contact that undid the hood. And you know what, frankly, I don't think he even needs to have that mechanical damage we were talking about, an actual engine damage. I think, frankly, just the hit and pulling that that hood off is enough.
I mean, everybody checks up pretty nice here going in turn 1, but it's this second bit that, yeah, you should expect it, but you kind of don't. Like you're thinking about that first bit where everybody's going to brake and be a little conservative, and you're trying not to hit anybody. And then I think here we see him work his way on through, and then he gets around a couple more there at the end. So
I want to see quickly what happened around the Fabio Zamperlini area. He's off the racetrack. There's Veloso coming on through, getting Stofko unsettled. Brockway settled in behind Zamperlini, and that ends up being Zamperlini's downfall. He stack up there, trying to get through the back end of the chicane. And then, when they got into Curva Grande, it was problems. I think that was the 41 we saw turned around into Curva Grande. So let's follow this. Or was that Lansendorf from the 99, actually? That would explain a lot. Let's watch this then. He's right behind Torlaschi. On his right side is the 89 of Blainat, and that would explain maybe the penalty for Blainat, but I would think Lansendorf ran him out of racetrack there.
Yeah, it's a hard one to say because it honestly looked like he had him cleared. It just might have been a little bit of net code. So, I mean, visually. But I mean, with where everybody's racing from different countries and different areas and different internet connections.
Yeah, I mean, where do you want Juan to
Got to
go?
give yourself a little extra room. But yeah, I mean, he's in front. You can lift a little bit to try to save yourself because there is a chance that you come off bad there too. But you don't. I don't know. I don't think you really have to. That one's kind of up in the air for me. But that's why we have race control. So they get it sorted out.
And then here's Metz down into Curva Grande. He gets stacked up. That is where Felipe gets a big piece of this. Scollieri gets into it. Resende just gets through. Maybe a Murtis Mega Miss in there somewhere. I mean, that is just brutal stuff. Let's see that actually for Jackson Resende. Driver's Eye POV. Murtis Esports Mega Miss. Look at this. I mean, you see, it's just chaos, Mad Max levels of destruction ahead. Just pick a lane, hope it works out. Wow!
That's pretty good.
That was incredible. And it didn't end there. Up into the second chicane. Look at all this. 3 wide under the bridge there, and there goes the hood on somebody else's car. Incredible.
That's Monza, man. That's Monza.
Well, that was a look back at what happened there in race number 1, but warm-up already coming to a close. Want to take a quick look back at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. These are the next few broadcasts on the channel. Monday morning, or Sunday morning rather, it is the All-American Racing Network. That is Daytona International Speedway. Chris Winstone trying to get a last-ditch win. If he can do it, he just might be in the chase. So Chris, best of luck now. It's Daytona's Daytona, right? Like, it's Monza, it's Daytona. Same vein.
Yep.
But we'll see how it goes. Then Sunday evening, we head up to Mount Washington in New Hampshire, and we send some legend cars up the Mount Washington Auto Road. That'll be a lot of fun. And finally, Monday evening, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. From one New Hampshire track to the other, we go racing on the New Hampshire Motor Speedway Oval for the NORA Retro Cup Series, brought to you by Harpoon Design. Well, race number 2 on the way. Dino Felipe has been inverted to 8th. Santiago Baztarica has been inverted to 1st. Let's see all the positions in between and behind. There's Baztarica in the 151 on pole. Agustin Torlaschi will start from 2nd, followed by Ralph Benitez and Marcos Saavedra, then Gabby Montoro and Roman Pascucci. Back in 7th and 8th, the drivers that finished top 2 in race number 1, it will be Fabrizio Belziti starting 7th and Dino Felipe starting 8th. Outside of the invert spots, Ricardo Rico. Tough luck there. He'll start alongside Bruno Enrique out of Pro-Am, who wins, by the way, in Pro-Am in race 1.
It was a good win for him. Then we see Jackson Resende starting in P11 next to Danish Hassan. So 2 pros going to be trying to get around the Pro-Am in front of him. David Toth lines up P13 next to Jacob Stofko in P14. Then we have Juan Valero 15th next to Victor Veloso in 16th. And moving further back, we have Jose Ramirez, another Pro-Am, lining up alongside his Pro-Am competitor Alex Esser in P18. P19, Rodrigo Metz, who's still going to be on the recovery game for this one, lines up next to William Kaler in 20th.
In 21st, it's Jose Correa in the number 6 alongside Love 46. What a recovery drive for her. From 34th up to 22nd. Big drive there. Juan Blanat, Scott Reister, row number 12. You saw the penalty for Juan Blanat mire him deep in the field. Hopefully he can recover through this feature race. Avery Hartley, Andrew Lansendorf there, 25th, 26th. They'll be followed up in row number 14 by Miguel Colon and Ricardo Delgado, who fought to the end there to keep the 100 of Gabriel Felipe at bay, who will start from 29th. I'd imagine that smile may be a little less uppity right now for Gabriel, but that's just racing sometimes. Felipe Brenta there in 30th. Fabio Zamperlini in 31st. Adam Brockway 32nd. To the back end of the field officially will be Brian Scollieri and Miguel Alcrudo. The timer will run down here in just a moment. We are expecting about 23 laps here in race number 2. As everybody gets gridded up, just a few cars left to do so. By the way, weather conditions for this one, that track temp is creeping up. We started this session in the morning, and you can see we're getting closer to noon. It's getting warmer. So these drivers going to have to battle a hot racetrack here for race number 2. 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It is toasty. Here we go. Red lights on, waiting for the green for 40 minutes at Monza. The Temple of Speed roars back to life. Green flag at Monza.
Looks like a nice, pretty even start for all the guys out front. Nobody really gaining or losing positions, but we're going to see a battle into turn 1 as we do. And we see Belziti kind of try to make up some room on the outside.
Turn 1 at Monza always gets somebody. Enrique with trouble.
There it is.
And it all comes apart for these guys in the back. I see Felipe turned around again. Wow.
I think he's going to be using that drop, so
yeah.
This is where you're lucky. But at least, you know, you got through half the season without using it. As we still, they're starting to kind of get single file out in the front. Kind of play nice. We got Montoro still defending on the inside against Jeremy Belziti, who they're getting a little over there.
Is that Miguel Colon? It is. Colon
Oh.
turned around to the second chicane. Thankfully, it seems with a little bit less damage, but Felipe has continued on and has now passed Colon. And Colon still trying to get the car turned. I'm watching timing and scoring. Enrique has turned around to the Lesbos now. Oh my goodness. The top of Pro-Am is having a terrible day.
That's going to be interesting one to watch because I think we've got, Felipe, and then the next one behind him is Cologne. But from what I'm watching, it looks like he's going pretty slow. So that looks like it might be some pretty heavy damage for him.
Hey, it's a good opportunity for Jacob Stofko to catch up in the standings. We'll keep an eye on things over the course of the remaining 40 minutes. Well, the remainder of these 40 minutes, I should say, as we're nearly 2 minutes elapsed, wrapping up lap number 1 at the front. Agustin Torlaschi leading the way. I don't think he's made a race yet this season. He shows up tonight. Here he is leading after lap 1 of the feature race.
Well, that's good. You good to put your stamp on it. You got a lap led now. Let's see how many you can lead. We got a little bump there. I think Besterica is just going to stay behind him. It looks like he's just trying to kind of push and build kind of a gap to the guys behind. That was really deep there.
Oh,
You're going to stick with them. Yep. It's going to affect him for a lap or two before that gets out of the way.
That is a crazy sight. All the gravel bouncing around up in the air. That's incredible. That is iRacing's dynamic track at work.
Yeah. That'll be pretty loud when it hits your windshield, too. So luckily they don't have to worry about cracking windshields or anything like that from the gravel.
Good bit of it here on exit of the second chicane as well. There went one off into the dirt. I gotta say, Monza is really, really good for these kinds of views.
A lot of great speed shots where you can really kind of get a feel for how fast the cars are going around the corners and how they're just right at the edge of the grip. You can see the back of the field here being a little bit more conservative. You see how much space they had on the left side of those cars, our right side as we were looking at them. If you look at the front guys in the front, they're not going to be leaving any of that space. You see really hammering those little sausage curb, little ridges on the inside. You see the guys in the back kind of driving more around them.
I did a parabolica single file through the entire field, just about a couple of cars sticking out, trying to make some passes as the lap winds down, but otherwise just about single file through the entire field as they wrap back around to the front stretch, and there is Torlaschi still leading. Your entire top 15, by the way, overall right now is all pro drivers. Alex Esser is now the first driver out of Pro-Am. He's got a heck of a fight right behind. Jose Ramirez trying to hang on over Leandro Lanzendorf. Then Jacob Stofko is in the conversation. This is going to be an interesting little race here. And right packed up behind Juan Zagudno Valero is where you'll find Alex Esser. So he's even got the toe from a pro driver.
That's going to help. You definitely don't want to be caught on your own. That's kind of the benefit. With the Pro-Am, you can be leading your class, but still not on an island by yourself punching the hole through the air.
I suppose that would be preferable to being on your own. But the trouble comes in the corners when you try to get your car turned down into the corner and suddenly you don't have a whole lot of grip because, well, you're packed up behind somebody. That's just what you have to manage at a racetrack like this, especially, that's the trade-off because you think around Monza, granted these guys are on fixed setups tonight, but if you were running open setups, you'd think, man, you got to trim the car out, but you also have to have downforce through the chicanes. You also have to make sure you have downforce, especially Parabolica. If you don't get Parabolica right, your whole lap is over. So you've got to make sure you have good grip through Parabolica, get the power down nicely, but also not have too much drag on the car to where you have no speed on the straightaway. Also, you have to think you'll eventually be behind somebody at some point in the race, if not the entirety of the race. So you got to make sure you have enough downforce when you're behind somebody. I mean, it is a really tricky place to set up for. It's not as simple as just trimming the car out.
Like the balancing act. There's a lot of different approaches, and you kind of balance that with your driving style. And like we said, they're on fixed setups here, but you can still do a little bit with brake bias, adjusting it forward and backwards, and kind of giving yourself more turn in when you're trying to rotate the car with trail braking versus more stability. I tend to be more on the conservative side because I don't want to be the guy that's spinning on his own, but that does make you slower. You don't have the rotation, so they still have a little bit of adjusting they can do.
Back into this fight for the top end of Pro-Am here in the race. Of course, the Pro-Am points leaders, well, two of them were in the pit lane, actually. Miguel Colon eventually brought that car to the pits. He is in for service now for about 2 minutes. There he is sitting there, and let me actually show you the pit timer. You can see, yeah, it is nearly 2 minutes in the box alone. So he's trying to get repairs, and up ahead, you see Gabriel Felipe continuing on. He is in the 29th spot currently. It's so likely to be a drop for both. I would expect that they're now going to have to fall back on whatever their previous drop was, and that, I mean, who knows, frankly, how that's going to result for these couple of guys going into, the next race for these guys will be Daytona.
That'll be a big one. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, not going to do that math right on the top of my head. There's a lot of unknowns there, but yeah, that's definitely going to mix things up. And I think that's why we see Cologne, he might come back out because there's always a chance that something will happen to Felipe's. We can see an SDR car going through the gravel. It's not good.
And Juan Blainat to the back of the line.
Okay. Ouch.
He's got some front end damage, so either he hit somebody in that exchange through Ascari or he ended up hitting a wall. Here's Delgado working with teammate Alcrudo. Love 46 to the inside of these two.
That's a tough trying to get around teammates, but then we see him pull off to the side. That's interesting to not just push. Now you've kind of put you both in a little bit of an awkward situation because 3 into turn 1 usually does not go, as we see a little bit of contact there. Love 46 wisely backs out, tries the crossover, but the second car was there. And that's going to give... Yep, here we go. Here's Felipe Brenta is going to go ahead and take a position away. And that's unfortunate because you didn't really do anything wrong there. You tried the crossover, just got the door slammed shut. We have one more opportunity, see if we can hang it around the outside here.
And same thing as the switchback there in turn 1, where she tried to turn back in for the second apex, and the car was there at her left front fender, so she gets pushed back a little farther. Gabriel Felipe now right behind. He is not going to cut her any slack. He needs all the points he can get. Of course, he's trying to beat Miguel Colon in the championship, but as we get into the second half of the season now, we're getting a more and more clear picture of how that's looking, and yet it's still murky after this evening because those two are almost certainly going to have to fall back on a drop. And speaking of, I want to go back and see what happened to Miguel if possible. So this is him pulling into the pit lane. Let's go back a little farther. Tell you what, here's the start. Let's watch this. This is important context for the Pro-Am Championship battle. You see already Felipe pulling to the right side. Colon then has to defend that. Let's see how this goes down here in turn 1. Other than not well.
Yes. Someone tries to sneak up into the middle there.
That's
if there's
Brenta.
A gap, someone's going to take it, and then, yep.
It actually worked out okay for Colon at first.
Yeah, that one's okay for him.
It was Felipe who really lost out in turns 1 and 2. And let's see what happened a little bit later. There you see Juan Blainat slow from through all of Curva Grande. Some crazy moves there. That's what happens. It was the 14 of Scollieri. Wow.
Ooh, and then that
was Felipe.
What really did it.
Or no, that was
like
Enrique, actually. Jeez.
Looked like you got a tire in the... As they're getting into the braking zone, you see the car dip a tire in the grass, and you just... I mean, you're not going to be able to stop like that. Yep, there you go. You're not slowing down. You're not going to make that corner. He still almost got it slowed down, but once he dipped that tire in the grass, there was no making that corner for him.
And I'll be honest, not to play steward too much, but I've got to agree with Miguel Colon's comment a little bit. At least the sentiment there. This is honestly kind of shocking to see from a pro driver in this field.
Yeah.
I mean, they have position. They've moved over. He just ran straight in the back of those guys. It's lap 1.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of that can also happen when I've seen guys who, when you get tucked up behind a car like that, it's really hard to see where your braking marker is. And there's a fine line between, you're going to have to brake a little bit earlier. You got guys battling for position, and it's going to back it up a little bit. You're on the inside, so you have to adjust for that. And now you've got 2 cars in front of you, and you can't really see. And then it just kind of comes up quicker than you think. It's just so many adjustments that you're trying to make at once. It's, usually it's a pretty honest mistake, but it's something you gotta, oof.
That
Physical
was something.
racing.
Yeah, these guys are getting very, very physical. Gloves are off, frankly, as that was David Tote working with, or working against Jackson Rosende. Certainly they are not working together right now. And here comes Ricardo Rico to take advantage of the spoils. He will get by Rosende here to the braking zone for the second chicane. Props to the 1 car. That is now in 9th position, back in his grasp as Rosende falls back into 10th. And he gets to redo this with Tote. And, I mean, they have been aggressive. They've been working together, again, not together, against each other for sure, but they've been around each other a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think at this point, too, a lot of these guys, I mean, a lot of the pros, I think, are already pretty used to the way each other races, but you're kind of still getting used to that. There's a core group of guys that I think you're going to kind of know how they race now. And one thing that's pretty universal in all the NARL series is, like we said, the physicality of it. Just there's a lot of door banging. There's a lot of, if there is a gap, you're going to see someone fill it. And here's a nice, he's getting the toe from the guy in front. Let's see if he can hang around. You're going to be brave on the brakes if you're on the inside, and he is.
Oh.
Sends it in there. Going to try the crossover.
And there is Tote getting the spot back away for now. Rosende gets back on his left rear quarter panel a little bit, and you see he just kind of self-clears over. Maybe not. Jackson won't have that. Rodrigo Metz right behind. Here's the braking zone. Danish Hassan there in the background. A little more door banging. They're going to lose mirrors here soon if they're not careful.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of almost could see that coming because, I mean, he just ran him into the grass. He said, hey, man, I'm here. Maybe, and then you give him a little nudge back when you get back to the next corner and say, yeah, if you want to race that way, we can race that way.
Meanwhile,
but fair.
This is the top end of Pro-Am. Here is Jose Ramirez. He's falling back behind William Kaler. So the top end fight here is Esser, Kaler, Ramirez, Stavko, and Correa. They are all in a line. In fact, every Pro-Am car remaining in this race is in a line. The only driver behind them is Adam Brockway.
Don't see that very often. They're typically pretty scrambled up, especially with all the incidents that we get, but see some actual good position racing. And it's nice to see we got some new faces up front. And this is great for all these guys.
Oh!
Nice side by side through Ascari.
There they go. They're done.
I was gonna say that's brave.
That's a shame. That's a shame for Jackson Rosende. I mean, at what point do you just have to realize, hey, we are the top of iRacing. We can't be racing like this.
Yeah.
These are, again, the iRatings closer to what you want to see in your bank account, right? 5 digits, and that's not kosher with me.
Yeah, and you could kind of see So yeah, he immediately slowed. I think that's when Tote's gonna walk back. I think he might be. That's when you do, and you're like, okay, that was a little embarrassing. That looked a lot cooler in my head. But that
Yeah.
big
That
bump on
dive
the
is
curves.
fine, and then he's owed one back, but I think if you're Tote there, you got to realize, hey, I've bullied him off once, he bullied me back, like, at least in this corner complex, we got to call it even and live to see the next corner, because now, Tote is still racing, I think? No. Yeah, no, he is. That's surprising to me. Let's see this from Met's point of view. It's actually Tote. So yeah, he gets to the inside here, and over the curbing, bullies Resende off. Resende kind of bullies him back, hardly even as hard, and then he just swung back at him, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily a swing back at him. I mean, you could see basically what happened on the first one. The reason he door banged him through the first part was, like we said, those curbs. When you aim for the inside, and the other guy's trying to take as much room as he can too, because that's the only way he's going to make it through the next corner. So when he hits that inside curb and it kicks him out, that's what really gets him off settled. And then you see that knocks the line just all kinds of off. So he's trying to take a different line, which means he's not going to keep it as tight. And the car next to you is not going to be able to hold it in the same area you would think. So then I think car on the outside just tries to turn left on his normal line, but there just wasn't enough room. And the other guy was trying to kind of maybe avoid the curbs more, saying, okay, well, if I get on the curbs, I'm going to kill him. So I don't know. It's hard to say. We obviously don't know what's in a driver's head. I do not think that would have been intentional or malicious. I think it's just one of those things where you're racing hard. Nobody wants to yield, especially in the pros. That's why we get these. It's because, if you're going to yield when you get next to somebody, then you're going to lose a lot of positions in a league like this.
At the same time, have too many incidents like that, you'll be kicked out of a league like this.
It's true. Yeah, you got to find that balancing act.
I mean, I'll put the soapbox away here in a second, but I guess the last comment I wanted to make on this is that Tote's got a 10,062 I rating. And I think we're giving him a lot of benefit of the doubt as if he were a 2,062 I rating like us, right? 10,062. He's been around for a while. He's done a thing or two. Like at some point we got to set a better example. Look, I doubt David was trying to crash Jackson into that corner at all. I agree with that, but it's not even halfway in the race. I mean, in order to win the money that you're trying to race for, you've got to finish the race to win the money, and I just think we need to see a little more self-preservation. I hope it's an opportunity to look at it, break it down, have a conversation, and just do better the next time. That's all.
And that's what's one thing that I think the pros will do pretty well, and a lot of the pro-am guys too, and most of the successful drivers, is when you see something like that, you're like, okay, that was embarrassing. What did I do? What could I do wrong? And the next time maybe he's a little bit more patient, because he knows, like, okay, well, I know I'm quicker than the guy. Let's give him a little bump draft going up to the corner so he knows I'm there. Maybe rattle his cage a little bit, and then just stay close through that chicane. And then I know I've got another great run and a much better passing opportunity down into Parabolica. We see Rico back out a little early there. And see, that's kind of what we're talking about, like patience. Like, no, as we see one of the SCR cars around there in the gravel.
Oh, man.
Felipe, that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not. That'll allow Mets to go on through, and I was going to say the pros here in the top 10 are setting great examples so far. A lot of patience, but a little bit of an excursion there for Dino, who has the highest I rating, by the way, by 3 singular points. Felipe at a 10,065, and David Tote at a 10,062. So very close company there between those two. Pretty incredible. We're even saying 10,000, but then here's the lead.
Happy with half of that.
Here's the lead, by the way, down in Pro-Am, and I'd be happy with a quarter of it. This is Esser and Kaler. This is a good little fight. This is actually swapped positions. Kaler ahead has now passed Alex Esser, as he has left Jose Ramirez in his dust.
See if he can pull away with it, though. Now that's the tricky thing, because now you're punching the hole through the air, and you see this big toe. Here we go. Now is he going to have the patience? See, this is what I'm talking about. That's perfect. You gave him a little bump. Say, hey, I'm here. Look, and that compromised his line because he's carrying more speed than he was used to. get this good line here. He didn't do the best job of holding that through Ascari. Kind of went a little wide in some of those, but that's the right idea because that's going to make him get to that corner at faster than he's expecting, and it's going to give you a better chance here. And ultimately, yeah, nice wider entry so you can get on the throttle a little bit earlier. Now we should see a move, hopefully, into turn one. I think we're going to get one. And that's what you want to see if you're Ramirez behind. You're like, yes, fight. Let them fight. Get me back up in it.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, right? The draft is eventually, right, that car behind will catch back up and be able to pass. And so that's how Kaler got in there in the first place. Now Esser puts it back on him. These fights are Ramirez's best friend, right? That's going to help him at least keep touch, if not catch up and also get in on the fight. Then it gets tricky, though. I've been in 3 car battles at Monza. That's really difficult because 2 guys are thinking they have the right to attack into one corner, and that typically does not go well. But, hey, that's what makes it fun, is there's some excursions here out of the second chicane into the Lesmos. Really good fights, even back here with Hassan, Leandro Lanzendorf. That is the name. Look at this. I mean, this is... Yeah, that name just trips me up for some reason. Every time.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, but that's why I'm just sticking to the last name, Lenzendorf. I think I can handle that.
Well, I think what it is, it's the Latin American first name with the very clearly German last name.
Yeah.
It's a mix of cultures.
Melting pot. Yeah, he's a bit of a melting pot.
Hey, I'll figure it out eventually. One of these days.
Was looking back a little ways, it looks like Esser had to give up that position due to a slowdown coming out of the second chicane. So that was their update from there as we see another great battle with Rico. As we see someone coming in the pits already.
Yes, that's Ralph Benitez as we're on board with Gavin Montoro battling with Roman Pascucci. Ricardo Rico right behind these guys as, whoa, they sort things out into turn one. But yeah, pit stops here for a handful. This is 2 drivers in on what looks to be an actual stop. And they're teammates, it looks like, as well. Victor Veloso and... No, sorry, they are not teammates. That car in the middle is Resende. He is 8 minutes into his pit, unfortunately. So it is Ralph Benitez and Victor Veloso. The teammate car to Benitez is Resende that is still in his box. A big thank you to the partners who make these races possible within the North American Racing League. I know tonight has been a chaotic one, but also really good fights. Monza never disappoints in sports cars. And oh, that's a slowdown. Torlaschi giving up the lead mid-race.
Oh.
Not even just the lead, but back to third rather. Oh, wow.
I appreciate that he didn't try to play any funky games with it, though.
Yes. It's one thing to bleed a little bit of time into a braking zone, but even then, when somebody gets positioned on you, you gotta let them go.
Yep.
Yeah, that is one thing that is a pet peeve. I hate that. But as I was mentioning, a big thank you to the partners who make this kind of series possible. There you see Muradness, Love 46, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and Rocket Designs. I know it's been a rough one for the Muradness cars here tonight, but that's not what it's about for them. They just love supporting the series, love being here with North American Racing League. They put up swag every season and heavily support the operation that Scott Reister heads up. So I know Scott maybe could still do it without Muradness support, but not to this level, not to this kind of degree. So certainly a big thank you to Muradness and Love 46 getting so much more attention on the series lately. The social media game has really picked up. The reels have been fantastic. Admittedly, I haven't really talked about this, but I do the graphics for, after the race, the top 3s and stuff. I got to get on that. Admittedly, I'm a couple races behind still, but she is just cranking them out. I mean, props to her. She has been on that social media game and pretty much adjusting to our time zone as well from halfway across the world. So props to her. And then Screw Compressor Service Incorporated and Rocket Designs, also very much longtime partners here of NARL, and could not do it without them as we watch our top 3 work through the Lesmos. They have very much taken off from Belziti, and that actually is a great topic. Belziti at Long Beach just wasn't really that spectacular, right? Didn't really do a whole lot. I hate to be so, I guess, what's the word? Critical. There we go. But, yeah, I mean, just not... Didn't burn the world down or anything. You don't have to, though, in a championship season necessarily, but he's going to have to get that back going the other direction soon. This is at least a good result so far in race 2.
Yeah, I mean, if the worst we're, talking about is, say, oh, it's a bad day for him, he's P4, the last race he finished P7. If that's your bad days, you got a pretty good chance of winning the championship. Consistency is pretty big in these things. So it's not panic mode. You got plenty of time left, and there's plenty of tracks that maybe put in a little extra work. I don't know what his schedule's like, but get a little bit extra practice, get yourself back up at the front. You still have a good shot at this thing. And I think from the team championship perspective, I think it's pretty apparent which way that's going this season. So they're definitely all contributing there.
Looking around the field through timing and scoring, there are a couple more pit stops going on. Dana Chasson into the pits. Here he is. As these guys get their stops in. Also in the pit lane, Fabio Zamperlini, who had a rough go of things there in the sprint race. He'll get back down the pit lane now and head back out in about the 23rd position, it looks like. Jacob Stofko coming up quickly on the left side, and he will certainly pass him. There he goes. And it might even be Gabriel Felipe. Yeah, Felipe is absolutely going to pass Zamperlini here. There he goes. So Zamperlini getting back into a rhythm. How difficult is it when you pit but don't take tires, Chris? You've done it a million times now in this league, but I don't think we really talk about that too much. Pitting, not changing tires, that... I mean, it's more common these days, I think, now with limiting fuel to mix up the racing. I think we're seeing that more on oval and road. But it's not conventionally something you typically do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad usually because and here we see our top 3 coming in too, so this should mix things up. But yeah, I mean, you don't see anybody taking tires. It's not that bad. It's usually with these and with the GT3s that I have more experience in, you might have a little bit of you get a little bit of fall off, but you don't really get, it doesn't really get like scary. It doesn't, you're not sliding all over the place. It doesn't feel like you're out of control. These tires are pretty durable and last a really long time. So it's a nice quick stop there. Ooh, see someone with a little bit of fuel savings. Saavedra comes in. He's going to come out first. So it looks like we've got basically the same order here, which is interesting because as I was watching him, Bastarrica looked like he was almost the better driver out of those 2 SDRs in the front. So we'll see what he can do in this last quarter of the race.
Ralph Benitez is going to blend in right behind Rodrigo Metz. So still top 10. Lanzendorf trying to hang into a top 10. Here comes David Todt. He's back into it, but he pitted 7 laps ago. I honestly don't know if Tot's got the fuel to go to the end. He might. He very well might. This could be for position for David. That would be a huge swing back in his favor. And I'll be honest, Chris, when we talk about, driver of the day here, I don't know who we're looking at, frankly, at the moment. I will say our race leader currently is Dino Felipe. He did not stop yet.
Now, that's interesting. You can save quite a bit of fuel here. There's a lot of opportunity to, get a little lift and coast. And if you're not the one in the front the whole time, which he was not, then obviously you have some cars pulling you along, and you can kind of give it, 80% throttle-ish, just kind of stay tucked up behind someone as long as they're carrying enough speed through the rest of the track, through the curvy bits, so it doesn't cost you too much time. So we'll see as he comes in. I don't know how much time that's going to allow him to make up. But this will be interesting because we know he's got top of the field pace here.
So Felipe in, we'll see how long his stop is. I already hear cars going by to pass him, and they do. Let's see, this should be actually a great angle. Yeah, you see cars going by. So Felipe exiting the lane now. There's the cone. There goes Belziti. Here comes Montoro. And he is going to blend in right behind the 22. It looks like maybe with the 1 of Rico. And Ricardo gets the best of him into turn number 1. So props to Ricardo Rico, up to 6th now. But Dino Filippa straight back by.
That is what you want to see if you're Dino. That just going in a little too deep on that first part of the chicane, because then you know it's like, okay, now I can slow it down a little bit, just keep it to the right, and I know I've got this guy, and yeah, we're not really going to see a challenge here. Which is wise. If you're Rico, you know, you saw the practice times, you saw the times from the first race. You know it's best just to get a toe off this guy, maybe learn a little something. It's always helpful when you're following a car. You can, I mean, this is the best seat in the house. If you got the fastest guy in front of you and you can keep it close, you can see where his line is different, where his braking point's different, what he's doing differently than you to try to make up a little bit of time. And usually you'll get a little bit faster, kind of doing some on-the-job training just about.
Just watching these guys all do their work around the racetrack. 9 minutes to go. We've got an SDR fight at the front. I actually have to check the graphic. Has anybody... Yeah, okay, we have had some wins outside of SDR. It just feels like they overwhelmingly win these races. I mean, I'm looking through 1, 2... I see 3... A total of 4 wins so far this season out of 4 races where we have 2 races apiece. So half the races thus far have been won by non-SDR cars, but they're about to make it 2 for 2 tonight.
Yeah, that's... I mean... Yeah, if you're Team SDR, that's not a bad ratio. So, we're winning 50% of the races. That's about to be above 50% now. So there we go. We're looking good. Now, I am curious to see how, you know, nice these two at the front are going to play together, because Costa Rica, again, he is glued to the back of Saavedra.
Well, in that case, I don't know that Santiago has a whole lot to race for. He entered the season a couple of weeks late, so I don't think he has a whole lot of reason to crowd Saavedra too much. I think you got to take this, as teammates, you got to take this as just an opportunity to go ahead and collect some points for Marco's season. You know, I think there might be drivers you would want to get the points instead because they're a little closer in the fight, but at the same time, actually, look at the points now. Marco Saavedra enters tonight 15th, or sorry, 5th place. 13 now. That's where I was mixing the words up. 13 points out, and certainly this is going to be a big gain over Dino, who's 6 points ahead of him. Rodrigo Metz had a pretty rough first race, and even here in race number 2 is 8th. He's going to gain over Montoro, who runs 5th currently. He'll gain over even Belziti a little bit, so that this is going to be a great day for Marco Saavedra. I think that is, as a team, what you've got to rally around, and certainly for Santiago Costa Rica, he entered late. Just help your teammate get the win at this point. This is going to catapult him to the front of the championship battle, potentially. And, you know, when we look at driver of the day as well, he's up those few spots. Saavedra looks like he started about 4th in this race. He's up to the race lead, so even that is pretty big.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a good point. The championship is going to be kind of the higher priority as much as you'd want to win here. You know, every driver wants to win, and especially when you have the opportunity, it's hard to let it go. But it sometimes especially when you're on, like, you know, one of these teams like this is really slow. Who is this?
Wow, that was Miguel Alcrudo, who was turned around, getting back going. What a catch, though, out of Felipe Barrenta. Let's go back and get a look at this. And then we'll get into our driver of the day picks. Let's see what happened to Alcrudo first. This is down into Parabolica. I'd assume he just, loses it on his own. Carried too much speed, a little too much rear brake. It came around on him. To the inside he goes, and he was just all over trying to get the car turned back around. And Brenta, look at the drift through the foreground. That was a hell of a catch.
Some rallycross for you.
Yeah, you know, Monza should have a rallycross course. That'd be a lot of fun. These long straightaways and rally cars, and have some kind of weird rallycross layout. You could use part of the junior course.
Just do it where you just, you know, load the track up, rallycross cars, and turn off the track limits.
Oh, could you imagine a jump somehow, like off of the oval onto the straightaway down into Ascari?
Now it's getting pretty Hot Wheels over here. I think.
Yeah, that might be a little too extreme. Hang on, yeah, here's...
Trophy trucks. If we can do some trophy trucks.
So let's see, that is level 46. I'm trying to see if I can illustrate my point. Here we go, from Alcrudo. Imagine that! From the oval down onto the... I don't know how you would do that. That'd be cool. Anyways, let's get back on topic here. I'm the one off topic, not Chris. But driver of the day, I mean, obvious choices would be the guy is leading, but who you got?
Well, okay, I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start in the Pro-Am. Just because, I mean, we see Felipe there, and it's a hard, honestly, in both, it's really hard, because Felipe is doing really well to get that car back up into P5, but with the way his first race went, it's probably going to be a drop race. Honestly, I think I might go with Kayla.
Oh my gosh, though, look at that from Gabriel Felipe. Nearly got both there.
He's making a case for it, isn't he?
And he's still working on Esser.
We'll see this corner, and I'll make my decision. Hold on here. I want to see what happens into this chicane and see what we got going on here.
He's got him.
Yep. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Felipe. So that'll be my Pro-Am choice. I mean, yeah, podium. That's a great recovery from the disasters. And it's going to be important for the championship because you never know when you'll have a race where you just get DNF'd in 2 races, and then that's your drop. So minimizing those losses to maximize your opportunity. So that's going to be Pro-Am. For pros, I'll let you pick one, and then I'll pick a pro after that. How about that?
Well, I'll stick in Pro-Am here really quick, and I'm going to go ahead and go grab Jacob Stofko. Regardless of what ends up happening with Felipe, I mean, this has been a great opportunistic drive out of him. Get all that you can. I know he's only currently, it's actually down a position in this race overall, but again, that's overall. And with all the issues we saw out of pro drivers there, he started ahead of a bunch of them. So he even started, I think, like 3rd in class in Pro-Am. So he has put together a really solid race, maintaining position more or less when he had a bunch of pros behind. And sure, there's a few behind him again. He's done a good job. And this is what you need out of kind of an underdog championship battle. You need to get these opportunistic drives when they present themselves.
Yep, that's the way to kind of get yourself back into it. And when someone else is struggling, that's what you got to do. So if we're moving back up to the pros, then I think I'm going to go with probably a bit of an odd choice. I'm going to go with P2 in Bastarrica, and the reason is I've been watching him on for a lot of this race. I've just been watching the chase and the onboard, and he has been glued to the back of his teammate the entire race. I think he's, like you mentioned, playing the team game. I think he's playing it really well. So helping push. You can see this big gap now back to Torlashi, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Bastarrica, while Saavedra is certainly quick, obviously he's also very fast, but Bastarrica is doing a great job of staying close where he can provide some help. He can be a bit of a rear guard. You can push a little bit. So I think I'm going to give it to him just based on team play, actually.
I'm going to go ahead and grab the guy who's running 10th, meanwhile. Leandro Lanzendorf, who has recovered from 26th on the grid, which then means he finished 26th in race 1, to 10th. And he's got David Tote right behind. That could be a bit of an interesting fight, but this guy had a really bad ending to Long Beach a couple of weeks ago. And it would have been very easy for him to have that bad taste in his mouth from Long Beach, have a bad race 1, get caught up in a couple of things, and then still have some, setbacks here in race 2. And at any point, he could have quit. And I think it would have been pretty, maybe not justified, but understandable, right?
Yep.
But he hasn't. He's up into the top 10. Maybe he loses this particular position to David Tote, but what a drive it's been for him to put himself back in this race. And I don't know what the championship holds for him. I don't know that he's really in contention, but he's at least proving himself to be a worthy adversary.
I like that pick. I like that driver. I think, yeah, after what we saw, he was doing really great. I remember how well he was defending, so that's kind of interesting. We'll see the 41 behind, see what he can do here. Tote to try to get in that top 10 position. But we know that the elbows will be out, of course.
And to reset your leader a little bit here, there is Marcos Saavedra. This time by is going to be checkered flag. We've already gotten the white flag, we just didn't know it. So this is the final lap with how the time is going to work out for these drivers. This is now the run to the end of our race here at Monza. 5 seconds to go right there. Marcos Saavedra drives off of Parabolica, and he has got himself a checkered flag in Italy. What a drive for Saavedra. Takes advantage of everybody else having all the problems. He will go ahead and take the win here. Overall, Lanzendorf and Todt, they fight it out for this final position. Maybe some contact there, who knows? Lanzendorf has got the drive. Can he hang on to the line? Yes, he will get a top 10, I think. Maybe a drag race right to it. He's going to have it. And for Pro-Am, here he comes, Chris. Jacob Stofko has got himself a win now this season.
That's great to see. We got it mixed up a little bit, which is always going to make things interesting. I mean, the points already looking fairly close for this far in the season. Normally we have kind of some clear front runners, but this one we've got a couple for Pro-Am, and this result here is just going to serve to switch it up more. Though you see Felipe still, I mean, recovered all the way up to P3, so still gets him a podium in class, which is huge.
Yes, it is, and boy, that is one way to get things finished up. Everybody has crossed the line that was still racing there, but not everybody is still on the racetrack. All the pros immediately escaped out of their cars. I wonder how close they were on fuel if they immediately got out of the car. But there is Jacob Stofko. I know it's not showing the white flag. I think I can try to force it. Maybe not. I guess not. There you go, checkered flag for these drivers here at Monza, and Jacob Stofko, by the way, it is his second win on the season. I just went back and checked. Second win for Stofko this season. That is still really, really impressive for him, and props to him for going and getting this win this evening. We'll be talking to him shortly. Let's take a look back at our unofficial race results here from round 5 of the season, with Saavedra and Stofko the winners. Here is your results graphic, unofficial race results, of course, as we always say, and that does matter, because we have seen some penalties lately. This could change, so it's unofficial right now. Marcos Saavedra gets the win. Santiago Bazdarica there in second. It will be Agustin Torlaschi there in third. Fabrizio Belziti and Gabi Montoro, your top 5. Ricardo Rico, good points there for the driver trying to defend the championship. I don't know that he will be doing that this season, but he'll at least be close to the fight regardless. Tito Felipe 7th, Rodrigo Metz 8th, Ralph Benitez 9th, and Leandro Lanzendorf hangs on by a hair for 10th place.
And then moving down to the rest of the top 20, we have David Todt in P11, so just barely at the line, missed out on that top 10 spot. We have Victor Veloso, P12, Juan Segundo Valero, and then Danish Hassan for the pros. And then we get to the Pro-Am winner, Jacob Stofko, and the rest of the Pro-Am podium. So 15th, Jacob Stofko, 16th, William Kaler, and 17th, Gabriel Felipe. So that's your podium for Pro-Am, followed by Alex Esser, Jose Ramirez, and Ricardo Delgado to round out the top 20.
And back in 21st spot, how about Jose Correa? Love 46 and 22nd, about 45 seconds behind the leaders here for these guys. Zamperlini, Al Crudo, almost exactly 45 seconds behind Marcos Saavedra. Obviously, these guys wanted to have better races, all that hubbub at the start. I mean, it's turn 1 at Monza, you know, we expect that, but definitely held them up here this evening. They would have liked some better results. That part goes without saying, but you see everybody there in the third page of our results. Avery Hart, 25th, Felipe Brenta, 26th. They at least finished on the lead. That they finished the race, right? But Roman Pascucci, 27th, did not finish the race. It looks like correct, did not. Everybody from him on down did not, actually. Adam Brockway, Jackson Resende, Juan Blanat, all out early. Big hits for a couple of the SDR cars, but Juan Blanat, the only one not to finish race number 2, followed by Miguel Colon, Brian Scolieri, Bruno Enrique, and Scott Reister. I think he may have seen what was going on in race 1 and decided, all right, I'm going to watch you guys and really get an idea of what the heck is happening here. But fair enough, he will take the kind of admin role there, I suppose. And we are waiting on drivers, actually tagging them right now for our driver interviews. Nobody has shown up just yet, but Chris, it's an opportunity for us to again thank the partners that make this league possible: Maradness, Love 46, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and Rocket Designs, doing so much for us season in, season out, week in, week out. These kinds of races, these kinds of series would not be possible without them, and there are some crazy payouts too. And again, all of that support from these partners is what drives everything in the North American Racing League. And, you know, we talk about the schedule so much and what's next for these guys. Daytona is what's next. A few weeks away, admittedly. They get some time to kind of think about what's been going on lately. They have been the more active bunch of this group the first, well, couple of months here of the season, but now it's going to be AMs that are a little more active, and the pros get a little more time to calculate exactly what they're doing round to round. So they get a few weeks. We'll go to Daytona mid-September. They get a couple more weeks. We go to Phillip Island kind of mid-October. And then at the end of October, it'll be Interlagos, Brazil, for the championship, a racetrack that I'm sure a lot of these drivers will know very, very well, considering South America is massively underserved on iRacing, and they really only have Interlagos to look forward to as a home round. We have so many Argentinians here in this series, so many Brazilians. We've got some drivers out of Uruguay and Chile. They only have the one racetrack down there. And you know, while we have this moment for a tangent as drivers get into the Discord server, I think it's okay that we talk for a moment, Chris, about these racetracks that are not on iRacing. For example, I just learned of Goiânia, I think is how you say it, in Brazil, where IndyCar is apparently looking at going in 2028.
Oh.
I have no clue about this racetrack. It's down in Brazil. Yeah. The official track name has Ayrton Senna in it. Why do we not know more about this racetrack? I know it's hard for a startup out of Massachusetts to go worldwide, but we really truly need more South American racetracks. That said, soapbox away for the second time tonight. We've got drivers ready to talk to us. Let's go ahead and bring in Marcos Saavedra, who wins here this evening at Italy. And Marcos, this is a big win, I would think, for you, right? With the drop weekend after last round at Long Beach, this win here in race number 2 tonight has got to put you right in this championship fight with your teammates.
Yeah, good night, guys, to everyone watching. Yeah, I'm very happy. I didn't really expect to be fast enough to grab a win here in Monza, but you know, really thankful that we did it.
Absolutely, and this has to reshape the championship picture for you, right? It has to feel a lot more tangible, a lot easier to go up there and get it now.
Well, I grab it race by race. You know, it's like every time I enter a race, I try to not. I know that the championship is long. There's like a lot of races still to do. So I don't really think about it before entering a race. Just go try to have the best finish possible each race and don't really think about the championship. But yeah, you're right. It's like at least it's a little bit more possible now.
You know, Marcos, that's probably the right idea. Honestly, you probably shouldn't listen to me. We hype up the battles because we want them to be dramatic for everybody watching, but honestly, you probably have the better approach. So don't listen to me. Keep doing what you're doing. Clearly it's working, and hopefully we're talking to you in Daytona next month.
Yeah, I hope so. Daytona, it's going to be a really tough race. So it's probably a lot of avoiding, you know, in that race. So thank you very much.
I'll actually ask you one more question. Do you think you'll have to do more lap 1, turn 1 avoiding at Daytona or here?
Well, here I had the luck to qualify quite ahead. I qualified 3rd, so it's a little bit more easy. You know, when you're on the first 4, 5, 6 positions, I'm pretty sure that on the middle of the pack it was really hard. You know, but Daytona is like turn 1, but every lap. So it's going to be really difficult.
Hey, congratulations again, Marcos. Good to talk to you, and hopefully we're talking to you soon.
See you guys. Thank you very much.
A big day, certainly, for Marcos Saavedra. Should put him right back where he needs to be in this championship fight, and it was his teammate Santiago Bastarrica who definitely helped get him there, Chris.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was hyping this guy up for a lot of the race. Bastarrica, it's good to see you. It's good to talk to you. I mean, I was kind of following on board there. We haven't seen you this week. I don't know if this was your first race of the season. We haven't really seen you too much, but to be able to come in and contribute with a P2 is pretty huge. And it looked like, honestly, it honestly looked like you had kind of pace for a win. Was there a chance for you to get in front, or were you just playing the team game, or kind of walk me through that?
Hi guys, good night. Yeah, it was a difficult race. I think maybe I had the pace, but my teammates also they were really strong. I think that today I maximized all that I have. It was difficult because at the beginning of the race I did a slowdown, so it was difficult to me to stay under the draft of the guys. But I think was good races today.
Well, it certainly was. We kind of caught that slowdown a little bit. That's always a pretty devastating way to lose the lead. And you got P2 back, and you had a pretty strong result there. Also, obviously in the first race to get P8 and put yourself on pole. But was there a little bit of chaos? Obviously starting in the front, that had to have been a little bit of a relief, because we were looking at I don't know if you saw all the smoke in your mirror, and how much of that did you have to deal with in the first race?
Yeah, was incredible. Always the first corner on here at Monza is really, really difficult to survive. But obviously starting on the lead is easy, but on the hit one, I started the P8 and was really, really difficult to continue after the turn one. But I think, we maximize all that I have today. And really happy with the league, also with my team, with the SDR. I think I have really good teammates, so happy for that.
Well, it was excellent to talk to you. I mean, I'm sure with the pace that you've got, we'll probably see you in here again. So hopefully, but that's, like you said, great job, great race. Good job maximizing for yourself and for your team.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a pleasure always race here. So yeah, see you obviously the next race.
And that is Santiago Bastarrica, who ends up second place here in race number 2. Good to talk to him. And that brings us down to our Pro-Am winner, and that, of course, is Jacob Stofko. At least in race number 2, you started a little bit deeper, at least in the class here in race number 2, which means you had a slightly worse race one. What happened out there tonight? A lot of avoiding early in the races, for sure.
Hey, guys. I guess I mean, maybe you're kind of like mistaking me for someone else, but I had P2 in sprint, so I was in category. I was starting pretty high in the second race, but regardless, I was super lucky because someone spun me in T1 in future race. But again, I was super lucky because I end up facing right way and still kind of was on decent position. So I was super lucky, I think.
I mean, it's still technically lower down the grid, right? Technically. But fair enough anyways, as you end up improving. Well, you end up technically losing a spot from where you started this race as a whole. But I mean, there were a lot of pros back there. How difficult is it when you see a lot of pros having an issue in race 1? Do you kind of buckle up and know it's going to be a rough start to race 2?
Yeah. It's always tough with pros around. I mean, I always take mentality to these kind of races that surviving is the first success. And usually when I start to think about positions, I start to lose because then you go into the unnecessary fights, and that never ends up good. Plus, I still don't have confidence with this car. It's just, and especially on tracks like this, where you have like heavy braking plus the curbs, it's just nightmare for me. And I was struggling so much. I thought it's gonna be much worse, but yeah, again, I took mentality of just surviving, not even caring about position, and trying to go forward with as little struggles as possible, and it kind of worked out. Yeah.
And of course, you're chasing those guys up ahead, Gabriel Felipe and such, for the championship. Does this give you any more hope for the title fight here this evening, knowing that Miguel had a bad night, Gabriel had a bad night? I mean, he still got up to third in class, only a couple of spots behind you by the end of it, but they still had to go through a lot. You still went through a good bit, but they had to go through a lot more, it felt like.
Yeah. Again, I don't think about positions anymore in this championship because it's super, like, it's a lot of about luck. I don't want to kind of like say it's a crash derby. It's not, but you have to have a luck. Like, for example, as you guys saw this race, I mean, Miguel and Felipe, they didn't have luck and they end up where they end up. And same happened for me in Sebring and Le Mans. I felt like I have a good pace in Sebring, and Sebring is my favorite track, but I end up in T1, T2 in both races and straight to the pits. None of that was my fault, so it's really hard to predict. It's just, again, I think the key to success in this championship, especially in Pro-Am, is just to avoid struggle, avoid contacts. Don't even go into the battles with Pro and stay on track. And I think, that helps.
Hey, Jacob, good to talk to you as always. I know you're kind of one of the underdogs in some of these fights, and it's always good to see you get a win. Congratulations, win number 2 on the season. Hopefully we're talking to you at Daytona.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Jacob Stavko. Certainly, I call him an underdog still, but he's becoming more and more one of the guys to beat in these races, so good to talk to him as always. William Kaler ends up right behind him here at the end of race number 2. Chris, here he is.
Yeah, William Kaler had how's it going, man? You had a pretty steady night there, coming away with P2. It's not bad. You started in the middle of the field for really both races, but especially that first one. And it was hard to keep track of who went where for us. We saw a lot of smoke, a lot of gravel. How did you you seem to survive that pretty well. What was that like?
Chaotic. Definitely. I didn't practice much for this race. It was probably the most afraid I've been going into this race, but I just kept it clean. I was with my teammate the entire time. Shout out to him for, we were drafting each other. But I think we just survived because of luck on the first laps. And then we just went on from there, kept it clean, and tried to have good pace.
Well, that's always good to actually make it through with your teammate. And, you also finished in front of Gabriel Felipe, who is, was starting to kind of walk away with things a little bit, but I think he ran into some bad luck. He had a pretty good recovery and ended up behind you, but that's going to be some points at least making up on him. You guys think you can maybe take that fight to him a little bit? Maybe this shows that maybe he's not invincible and you can kind of take the fight to him?
Yeah, the goal is always to try and get Gabriel, get his teammate Bruno as well, and Stavko as well, who won. I don't know if we can exactly take the fight to them, but we'll try and put a bit of an end to the gap that he has, because it is pretty big.
Yeah, I think you put a dent in it today, and we've got Daytona coming up. Are you feeling good about that one?
Yep, pretty good there. Just gonna be a little hard with all the drafting as well. If it wasn't bad here, it's going to be even worse there.
Well, hey, man, great result. Good P2, good solid day, surviving all the chaos that is Monza.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I forgot to do this the last 2 times. I would like to plug my channel, William Kaler on YouTube, and then also my Twitch is it's also William Kaler. So thank you guys for any support. All right, sorry about that.
No worries, man. You got to get that plug in. I understand. Exactly, it's all good.
Exactly.
So, all right, man. Hey, it was good to hear from you. Hopefully we hear from you again. Hopefully Daytona goes well. And, good race.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
So William there with a solid finish here this evening for sure. And good to talk to him. I know he puts a lot of work in on the YouTube side as well. So that's a good subscription that you should go make over on the YouTube side. It's free. It's not like other subscriptions where you got to pay boatloads of money every month. It's free. It's YouTube. Just hit the button and turn notifications on and stuff like that. But I mean, hey, great to talk to these guys as always, and I gotta think it can't be too much longer before some of these pro-ams are up with these pros again. You know, more of these promotions in between classes. I'd have to imagine more are coming, but regardless, good to talk to these guys, and I'm hopeful for Daytona in a few weeks for these guys. That's going to be a fun race.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really exciting one. I'm also really looking forward to Brazil. That's another one of my favorite tracks. It's just a really good schedule. I admittedly don't know much about Phillip Island, so I'm going to have to go drive around that one and kind of get the lay of the land before we do that.
You know who loves that racetrack?
Show, but,
Scott Reister.
Oh.
Scott loves that place.
I better get familiar with it then.
It's actually funny. I almost ended up on a broadcast tomorrow night with some Australians on SimSpeed. They're doing a 6-hour of Phillip Island. I guess we should have let Scott know about that one, but it is gonna be pretty late. I mean, it's starting at like 8-hour time. It's the morning for the Australians, but it's like 8 p.m. here on the eastern side of the United States, going to like 2 a.m. my time. I was like, I don't know if I can do that, unfortunately. So we passed that off to our other broadcast partner here in NARL, Blue Carl. He'll be taking that one on. So props to Blue, taking on the opportunity with Reese Gardner, Southpaw Racer, if you're on YouTube like I am. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for them. Regardless, Phillip Island is going to be a lot of fun in this league as well, and it always is. I think Scott, look, he loves it, and so we see a lot of Phillip Island, but he seems to pop in Phillip Island on the schedule right when we need it. Like, it always seems to be a good choice. So yeah, always provides good racing. And that said, we do have to go ahead and cap off the broadcast, and oh my goodness, look, I will never turn down more viewers. I appreciate it. 57 votes! I've never seen that many, I don't think, on Driver of the Day. I guess Leandro Lansendorf tapped into the fan base a little bit. No, nothing wrong with that. But Leandro will win the Driver of the Day vote resoundingly. 57 total votes. That's got to be a record or something. And there you see Leandro with the Driver of the Day award. That's going to be a little bit extra cash in his pocket, which certainly is going to feel nice after the rough go of things at Long Beach, and then again some setbacks here tonight at Monza. So props there. And hey, he's even out in the YouTube chat. Hey, good to see you getting the award, Leandro. Glad for it. But that's it for us here at Monza. Chris, any final thoughts here?
That's Monza, baby. I love it. This is why. It's always a wild show. And, I mean, you can see why it's one of my favorites. Maybe next time we'll have some Ferraris running around.
You know, GT3 Season 10. This winter. That's all I know.
I'm ready.
We're still getting it worked out.
My body is ready.
Maybe Monza makes a return to the GT3 calendar. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see when we get there later on this winter. And a big thank you again to our partners who make these broadcasts possible: Radness, Love 46, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and Rocket Designs, and our partners here at the channel: Whiplash Simcams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murder Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and MX Designs. And certainly, if you are interested in partnering with either group, you can always do so. Reach out to us. We'll get you in the right place. So if you want to partner with the league or here with Pit Stop TV, we'll make that happen and then get you on your way as a partner of Sim Racing Broadcasting. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Upcoming broadcast one more time. You see Daytona, Mount Washington, the doubleheader this Sunday. Then we go out to New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Monday with the the NORA Retro Cup Series. The names are just so similar in that first syllable. The NORA versus North. But anyways, make sure to check in for that. We've even got a Legends race kicking off the evening for us Monday around the New Hampshire road course. And Chris, you missed it, man. It was good racing. We better see you there Monday night.
Okay, I'll do what I can.
We're trying.
I hope I don't miss anymore.
We keep throwing this poor guy into every race we can, but you're a good sport about it, Chris. We appreciate it. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all in the next one. Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 showing a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, Coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's gonna try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's gonna crash. Salas is gonna crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is gonna do it with no front bumper.